Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to another webinar on reinstatements of companies and CCs. My name is Shani Kelly and I will be your presenter today. The contents of my webinar will be the consequences of non-compliance, final deregistration, reinstatement, incidental information, and learn IBIS. Consequences of deregistration. Companies or CCs as a registered business will cease to exist. That means it will lose all its benefits of being a registered business. Directors can be held personally liable for all debts of the company, and banks may freeze your bank account. Service providers may stop doing business with you, as well as creditors may even refuse to pay you. So it's important that your status of your business is active and not deregistered. Final deregistration. CIPC is clearing the registry of dominant and inactive companies and CCs. What now? The name of the company becomes available immediately for another person to reserve and use. Deposits made, money in the customer code. When finally deregistered, the money can be used for reinstatement process, used to register a new company. Alternatively, a refund can be requested from revenues at cipc.co.za. Please, when you apply for a refund, provide proof of your deposit, stamp confirmation of the bank account, and certified copy of the ID of the owner of the customer code. Right. If you did not receive the core 40.3 or the core 40.4 and or final deregistration notice, it is because your contact details of the directors and members are outdated. Use contact details of this customer code. When the business was being registered, the service provider used their own contact details instead of the directors or members' contact details. Please check the contact details if you did not receive your notices or the forms, and please correct them. How to update contact details of directors and members to receive notices in future. You can do a director or a member amendment. Directors must provide their own contact details for the system and remove the ones of the service providers. The core 40.5 forms can be downloaded from the CIPC website. On the screen at the moment is screenshots of the CIPC website. You will see on the first column on your top left-hand corner is forms and fees. You click on that icon. You can see on the right-hand side, on the top right-hand side is company forms and fees, as well as the bottom of the form of the page is the core 40.2, the core 40.5, as well as the core 40.44. So all these forms are available on the CIPC website from which you can download. How to access the online deregistration letter. This is an advert on how to download your letter and request via our ART, our annual returns, or the disclosure unit. Reinstatement. The reinstatement requirements. Your company must have economic value on the date of final deregistration. Proof in which you need to attach needs to be the bank statement, which is the most common evidence that we require. Immovable properties, wind deed, and letters from the land register. So if you have a property, if your company owns a property, you can attach that as proof. Shares, letters or notification from issuers of shares that the company or the CC holds shares. This can be attached. Outstanding liabilities, letters or notification from stars that a credit or rebate or even outstanding tax liabilities are due. A lease agreement. This lease agreement must indicate the parties, and one of the parties must be the company or the CC, and it must not be an expired lease agreement. Assets, the company holds any assets. This can also be a form of proof. The company then needs to submit the statement of the financer or the confirmation letter or even a notice from the Department of Transport. So these are the various types of proof in which you need to attach to your application to show that your company has economic value to be reinstated. Who may apply for reinstatement? According to Section 82, subsection 4 of the Companies Act, any persons may apply to reinstate a company or CC. Only companies or CCs or its duly appointed representative may file annual returns, file beneficial ownership declaration or the security register, file AFS or FAS. Third parties do not have access to such information and therefore cannot complete the reinstatement process, since all annual returns and other documents must be submitted to complete the process. Third parties may apply to court. The reinstatement process. Steps to follow before and after reinstatements. You can see on the advert in front of us on the slide, all 7 processes are available for you to follow. Now, I'm going to go through all the steps that one needs to follow. Step 1, determine the status of your company. Is your company in annual returns, AR, final deregistration? Step 2, assessment as to the economic value at the time of final deregistration. Step 3, source all the required documentation and information for reinstatement, annual returns, your AFS or FAS, and beneficial ownership. Step 4, deposit the funds. The cost of reinstatement is 200 Rand. And this amount must reflect on your customer code before you send an application through to CIPC. Step 5, submit application and all supporting document as a single email to re-instatements@cipc.co.za. I'm going to repeat the email address. It's re-instatements@cipc.co.za with all attachments in PDF. Step 6, submit and pay or file all outstanding annual returns. Your latest AFS or FAS and BO, beneficial ownership. AFS is your annual financial statements, and FAS is your financial accountability supplement. These need to be completed when you're doing your AR process. Step 7, ensure that all the directors' addresses, contact details are updated. It's important that we have the correct email address and cell phone numbers. Source all the required documentation. An originally completed Core 40.5 or a letter of similar content. The form can be downloaded from the CIPC website. I have showed you on the previous slide where to download the form. The customer code must be clearly indicated on the Core 40.5 form. If you do not have a customer code, please register one by following the link on BIS Portal. It is a platform brought to you by the CIPC. It's a paperless platform, so you can do your form online. If you have registered your customer code, deposit the funds required in your account. The CIPC's banking details are on our website. It is the mandate for the applicant on whose behalf the application is being submitted. Sufficient funds in the customer code to process the application. A reinstatement application carries a 200 Rand statutory fee. Deposit the fees, and once the deposit is reflected in your customer code, email the entire application. Certified copies, ID copies of all the active directors and members. Alternatively, if the director or member is deceased, the executed letter and certified copy of the ID of the executor needs to be attached. Certified ID copy of the applicant, the owner of the customer code, and the certification must not be older than 3 months. The commissioner of oaths who you are using must clearly be identifiable, traceable, and his designation needs to be visible. Sufficient documentary proof showing that the company or CC was in business or has economic value or even has outstanding assets or liability. This needs to be proven. Example of possible proof is your bank statement, immovable property, IP rights, shares letter, outstanding liability, lease agreement, or assets owned by the company. Any one of these needs to be attached. If you have applied for a court order, the court order needs to be emailed to corporate legal services at cibc.co.za. I'm going to repeat the address: corporate legal services at cibc.co.za. For service and recordal, it is important that you email it to the correct email address. Please note, advise the court order must be a mandate company or CC to bring all obligations up to date within a period of time, failure of which the company or CC will be placed back into AR deregistration for non-compliance. So even though your company is reinstated and the court order issued states the company needs to be reinstated, if you do not comply with the annual returns, a reversal will be done for your company to go back into deregistration. So ensure that your annual returns are up to date when reinstating your company. Incidental information. The submission of the annual returns information together with payment should have been made before final deregistration. Mere tiniest payment or deposit fee is not required as filing of annual returns. If payment or deposit was made, but the company or CC was finally deregistered, the company or CC may be reinstated provided it meets the process and document requirements. If annual returns were filed, but not the latest beneficial ownership declaration, such must be filed separately, failure of which CIPC may initiate an investigation against the company or CC and issue a compliance notice. Follow us on the following social media platforms for the latest updates on all CIPC information. Our social media platforms are Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Threads, YouTube, and X. It is important that you keep updated with the correct information from CIPC. Resources that are available to you: notices relating to final deregistration is published on the CIPC website and social media post. Attached is screenshots from our website on important notices and all notices, as well as the date that the notices were published. Learn IBIS. Learn IBIS course. The course is an online educational course for prospective, new, and existing directors of SMMEs. The purpose is to educate directors with the basic information of their duties and responsibilities in order to improve compliance to the Companies Act of 2008. This course is free of charge. For more information on this course, you can email elearning@cipc.co.za. It is important that all directors attend and complete this course. It has 7 modules. Each module consists of a video and multiple choice question. Once you complete the first module, you will be able to go on to the second module. You can complete your modules, all 7 in one setting or according to your convenience. Thank you very much. That has brought me to the end of my presentation. Please note that this presentation will be available on the CIPC website